The courtroom smelled like tension and expensive perfume. Maya Reeves sat at the defendant's table with both hands resting on her swollen belly, 8 months pregnant, exhausted, terrified, trying not to show it. Her dress was pale blue and plain, the kind you buy on a clearance rack because your money goes to rent, groceries, and prenatal vitamins. Her hair was pulled into a simple ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry, except the wedding ring on her finger. That ring felt heavier every day. Across the aisle sat her husband, ex-husband, technically. Ethan Reeves, 35, crisp custom suit, perfect hair, jaw set like he was on the cover of a business magazine. He looked like the kind of man who belonged in a boardroom, not a courtroom. But he wasn't here to close a deal. He was here to take her baby. Not after birth, immediately after birth, as if she was nothing more than a temporary incubator. And sitting behind Ethan like a queen guarding her throne was Eleanor Reeves, 71 years old, silver hair pinned in an elegant twist, pearls at her throat, Chanel suit that probably cost more than Maya's entire car. Her posture was perfect, her expression was calm, but her eyes were cruelty in designer packaging. The kind of look that said, "You were never good enough for my son, and I'm going to make you remember it." The courtroom was half full. Ethan's family filled the right side, his father, his sister Caroline, an uncle, 2 cousins, all dressed like they were attending a charity gala. Maya's side? Nearly empty. Just her best friend Tasha sitting in the second row, hands clenched, and Maya's court-appointed lawyer, David Kim, a public defender with tired eyes and a stack of files thick enough to choke the truth. Judge Olivia Brennan entered from the side door, 58, gray hair, sharp eyes, the kind of judge who didn't fall for theatrics, the kind who could smell manipulation before it spoke. "All rise." Maya struggled to her feet, one hand braced on the table. The baby kicked hard. Maya winced, but said nothing. Judge Brennan sat. The courtroom sat. The judge opened the file in front of her, read silently for a moment, then looked up. "This is Reeves versus Reeves, a petition for emergency custody filed by Mr. Ethan Reeves regarding his unborn child." She paused, let the words hang like a noose. "Mr. Reeves is requesting that upon birth the child be placed in his sole custody. He is also requesting a paternity test and alleging that Ms. Reeves is mentally and emotionally unfit to parent." Maya's throat tightened. Judge Brennan looked directly at her. "Ms. Reeves, do you understand the nature of these proceedings?" "Yes, Your Honor." Maya's voice was steady, stronger than her body felt. "And you're contesting Mr. Reeves's petition?" "Yes, Your Honor. Everything he's saying is a lie." Ethan's lawyer stood immediately. Gregory Marsh, silver-haired, expensive suit, the kind of attorney whose smile never reached his eyes. "Your Honor, my client has substantial evidence." "I'll hear your evidence, Mr. Marsh," Judge Brennan said flatly. "Sit down." Gregory sat. Judge Brennan glanced at the file again. "I see Mr. Reeves has filed for a paternity test." "Yes, Your Honor. My client has reason to believe the child may not be his." Maya's hands clenched into fists. "That's not true," she said, voice sharper now. "Ms. Reeves," Judge Brennan said firmly, "you'll have your chance. Let the process unfold." Maya swallowed hard. Judge Brennan turned towards Gregory. "What is the basis for your client's doubt regarding paternity?" Gregory stood again. "Your Honor, we have testimony from multiple witnesses, including Mr. Reeves's mother, that Ms. Reeves was seen with another man on several occasions during the marriage." Maya's heart dropped. "Lie," she whispered. Judge Brennan's gaze slid towards Eleanor Reeves. "Mrs. Reeves, I see you've submitted a witness statement. You'll be testifying today?" Eleanor stood gracefully like she was stepping onto a stage. "Yes, Your Honor, I have information the court needs to hear." Judge Brennan's expression didn't change, but her tone sharpened. "Let me be clear. This court takes the welfare of children seriously, very seriously. If there is evidence that Ms. Reeves is unfit, I will act." She paused. "But if this is a family using the legal system to hurt someone out of spite," her eyes locked on Eleanor, "then I will not be pleased." Eleanor's smile trembled just slightly. "Let's proceed." And the battle began. Quick heads up before we start. This story is a fictional dramatization about family turning ruthless, concern being used as a weapon, and the moment facts finally drown out cruelty. If you believe families can be vicious behind closed doors, if you've ever been judged by people who were supposed to love you, if you know what it feels like to defend yourself while carrying the weight of an unborn child, this story is for you. Hit like, subscribe to One Verdict Away, turn on notifications so you never miss a story where the truth doesn't whisper, it hits the courtroom like thunder. And drop a comment. Where are you watching from? Home? Lunch break? Late night with the world asleep? Tell us. Now, let's go back to the day Maya walked into the Reeves family thinking she'd found love and didn't realize she'd walked into a trap. 2 years earlier, Maya Chen met Ethan Reeves at a coffee shop in downtown Seattle. She was 26, graphic designer, student loans, tiny apartment, life stitched together with hard work. Ethan was 33, vice president at his family's investment firm. Mercedes, penthouse, money that moved like it had always existed. He shouldn't have noticed her, but he did. "Is this seat taken?" he asked, gesturing to the chair across from her. The shop was half empty. He could have sat anywhere, but he smiled like the world made sense when she looked up. Maya said, "It's all yours." They talked for 2 hours. It wasn't dramatic, no fireworks, just easy. And when Ethan texted her later that night, "Had a great time, coffee again tomorrow?" Maya said yes. For 3 months, it felt perfect. Ethan took her to restaurants she could never afford, bought her gifts she didn't ask for, looked at her like she was rare. "You're different," he told her one night. "Everyone I meet wants something from me, but you just want me." Maya laughed. "Is that so surprising?" "In my world," Ethan said, "yes." 6 months in, Ethan introduced her to his family. "They'll love you," he said. Maya wasn't sure. Dinner was at the Reeves estate. Not a house, an estate. 8,000 square feet, staff, pool, everything polished and expensive like it had never known struggle. Eleanor Reeves greeted them at the door. "Ethan, darling," kiss to the cheek. Then her eyes drifted to Maya like she was inspecting a stain. "And you must be Maya." "It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Reeves. Please, call me Eleanor." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Dinner was formal, multiple courses, wine Maya couldn't pronounce, conversations about people Maya had never heard of. Eleanor watched Maya the entire time like she was waiting for her to make a mistake. And Maya did. Not because she was rude, because she was human. She reached for the wrong fork. Eleanor noticed. She didn't say anything immediately. She waited. Then, casually, to the whole table. "Oh dear," Eleanor said softly, "that fork is for the fish." A few people chuckled. Maya felt heat crawl up her neck. Ethan squeezed her hand under the table, but it didn't stop the humiliation, because Eleanor wasn't correcting her to be helpful. She was correcting her to remind everyone Maya didn't belong. After dinner, Eleanor pulled Ethan aside. Maya saw them through the window, Eleanor speaking sharply, Ethan shaking his head. When Ethan came back, his smile looked forced. "Everything okay?" Maya asked. "Fine," Ethan said. "She's just protective." "Of what?" Maya asked. "Of me." The next day, Eleanor called Maya. "Maya, dear, lunch, just us girls." Maya should have said no, but she wanted Eleanor to like her, so she said yes. Lunch was at an exclusive restaurant. Eleanor ordered for both of them, then leaned in. "Maya, I'm going to be direct. That's just who I am." "Okay." "I seem like a lovely girl, but you need to understand something about my son. Ethan comes from a certain background, a certain expectation." Maya's stomach tightened. "I'm not sure I follow." "I'm saying Ethan will eventually marry someone from his world." There it was. Clean, cold, final. Maya swallowed. "So, I'm not good enough?" Eleanor smiled gently like she was offering mercy. "I'm saying you're temporary." Maya stood up slowly. "Thank you for lunch, Eleanor." Then she leaned in just enough for Eleanor to hear. "But I'm not temporary." And she walked out. That night, Maya told Ethan everything. "She said I'm not good enough for you." Ethan's face darkened. "She had no right." "Maybe she's right." "No." Ethan grabbed Maya's hands. "She's not. I love you." It was the first time he said it. Maya cried, and Ethan kissed her like love could silence a family's hatred. 6 months later, they got married. Small ceremony, City Hall, just them and 2 witnesses. Ethan didn't tell his family until after. Eleanor didn't speak to him for 3 months. Maya thought that meant she'd won. She didn't realize Eleanor was just planning. 8 months into the marriage, Maya found out she was pregnant. She took 3 tests, all positive. She told Ethan over dinner, "I'm pregnant." Ethan stared. "You're serious?" "Yes." He stood, paced, ran his hands through his hair. "This is unexpected." "We can handle it," Maya said quickly. "We're married." Ethan's voice dropped. "I'm not ready to be a father." Maya's chest tightened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying we have options." Maya's hand went instinctively to her belly. "I'm keeping this baby." "Maya, I'm keeping this baby, Ethan, with or without you." A long silence. Then Ethan nodded. "Okay, we'll figure it out." But something changed. The next day, Ethan told his mother, and the war began. Eleanor showed up at their apartment unannounced. "Maya," she said, smiling too widely, "are you sure it's his?" Maya blinked. "Excuse me?" "It's a reasonable question," Eleanor continued calmly. "You trapped him into marriage. Now you're pregnant. Convenient." Maya's voice shook. "Get out." Eleanor stepped closer. "I will not be spoken to. Get out." Ethan stepped between them. "Mom, leave." Eleanor's face hardened. "I'm trying to protect you, Ethan." "Leave," Ethan said again. "Now." Eleanor left, but she took something with her. A seed. A poison. Over the next few months, Eleanor called Ethan constantly, sent him articles about paternity fraud, hired a private investigator to follow Maya. Ethan started coming home late, leaving early, sleeping with his phone turned away. "Maya, talk to me," Maya begged. "I'm stressed," Ethan said. "About the baby?" "About everything." When Maya hit 7 months, Ethan moved out. "I need space," he said. Space? Maya stared. I'm 7 months pregnant with your child. I know. I just need to think. 2 weeks later, Maya got divorce papers and an emergency custody. Ethan was suing to take her unborn baby, claiming Maya was mentally unstable, claiming the baby might not even be his. Maya called him, shaking. "What the hell is this?" "It's what's best." "Best for who?" Maya snapped. "Your mother?" Silence. "Oh my God," Maya whispered. "You let her put you up to this." "Maya, you're letting her destroy us." "There is no us," Ethan said quietly, and he hung up. Back in court, Gregory Marsh spoke like he was reading from a script written by rich people. "Your Honor, Mr. Reeves has serious concerns regarding Ms. Reeves's stability, erratic behavior, mood swings, aggression." "I'm pregnant and abandoned," Maya blurted. "Ms. Reeves," Judge Brennan warned. David Kim stood. "Your Honor, Ms. Reeves is 8 months pregnant. Her husband moved out. His mother harassed her. Anyone would be stressed. That does not make her unfit." Judge Brennan nodded once. "Mr. Marsh, call your first witness." Gregory's voice sharpened. "The petitioner calls Eleanor Reeves." Eleanor took the stand like she owned it. Hand on the Bible, oath, smooth sit. And when she looked at Maya, she smiled, small, satisfied. Gregory began. "Mrs. Reeves, what is your relationship to the defendant?" Eleanor exhaled like she was disappointed by the world. "She's my son's ex-wife." The disdain dripped. "And what can you tell the court about her behavior during the marriage?" Eleanor sighed. "Maya was unstable from the beginning, possessive, controlling. She isolated Ethan from his family." David objected. "Speculation." "Sustained," Judge Brennan said. "Stick to what you personally observed." Eleanor nodded. "Of course, Your Honor. At family gatherings, she was emotional, argumentative, inappropriate." "Example?" Gregory asked. "At Christmas dinner, she accused me of trying to ruin her marriage, screaming, crying, in front of everyone. It was disturbing." Maya whispered, furious, to David. "I shared that POV with you. She called me trash in front of the whole table. I defended myself." Gregory continued. "Do you have concerns about her parenting?" "Grave concerns," Eleanor said, voice sweet. "She's impulsive, immature, and—" She paused. The courtroom leaned in. "I'm not convinced the child is even my son's." Maya's mouth opened in disbelief. The courtroom murmured. Gregory pressed. "What makes you say that?" Eleanor smiled, like she'd been waiting for this moment. "I hired a private investigator. He documented Maya meeting with another man on multiple occasions, coffee, lunch, once entering his apartment building." Maya half rose from her seat, voice shaking. "That's my cousin." The judge's gavel hit once. "Ms. Reeves, sit down." Maya sat, trembling, humiliation burning through her skin. Eleanor didn't stop. "I'm not accusing," she purred. "I'm simply saying there's reasonable doubt, and given Maya's instability, a paternity test is prudent." She looked at Maya like she'd just spit on her in public. "Thank you," Gregory said. "No further questions." David Kim stood for cross-examination. "Mrs. Reeves, you refused to speak to Ethan for 3 months after he married Maya, correct?" Eleanor's smile tightened. "I needed time to process." "Process what? That your son married someone you disapproved of?" "Objection," Gregory snapped. "Sustained. Rephrase." David nodded. "Did you tell Maya she wasn't good enough for Ethan?" Eleanor hesitated. "I expressed concerns." "Did you tell her Ethan would eventually marry someone from his own world?" Eleanor's eyes narrowed. "I was protecting my son." "From what?" Love? Eleanor said nothing. You hired a private investigator to follow your son's pregnant wife? Yes. Did you verify who the other man was before you accused her of infidelity in open court? Silence. Mrs. Reeves? I relied on the report. So you publicly humiliated a pregnant woman based on assumptions. Eleanor's jaw tightened. I was being cautious. David's voice turned cold. You were being cruel. Objection, Gregory exploded. Withdrawn, David said calmly. No further questions. Eleanor stepped down. Her composure cracked. Ethan testified next. He claimed Maya was unstable, that she threatened him, that she was paranoid. David's cross was brutal. You want space from your pregnant wife. You moved out. You filed divorce. You filed custody. And you're calling her unstable? Ethan struggled, and the more he spoke, the clearer it became. This wasn't Ethan's war. This was Eleanor's, and Ethan was the weapon. Recess. Hallway. Maya shaking. They're destroying me, she whispered to Tasha. They're trying, Tasha said, but your judge isn't buying it. When court resumed, Judge Brennan's voice was sharp. I'm troubled by what I've heard. She looked at Ethan. Mr. Reeves, you've made serious allegations with little evidence. Then Eleanor. Mrs. Reeves, you've made allegations that appear rooted in personal dislike, not genuine concern. Eleanor's face paled. However, Judge Brennan continued, there is one matter we must address before I can rule, the paternity test. She opened an envelope. The results came back this morning. The courtroom went silent. Judge Brennan read, then looked up. The test confirms with 99.9% certainty that Ethan Reeves is the biological father. Maya exhaled so hard she almost sobbed. Tasha squeezed her hand. Ethan turned toward Eleanor, searching her face for relief. Eleanor's face remained stone. But the judge wasn't finished. There's something else, Judge Brennan said. As part of the test, genetic markers were noted. Maya frowned. Ms. Reeves, the judge asked carefully, are you aware you have a genetic condition called Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome? Maya blinked. What? It's rare, Judge Brennan said. It can affect pregnancy and child development. Were you aware? No, I whispered. I've never been tested. Judge Brennan's gaze shifted to Eleanor. Mrs. Reeves, are you aware this condition can be hereditary through paternal lines? Eleanor went pale. Judge Brennan continued, slow, deliberate. We also ran Mr. Reeves' DNA, and he carries the same markers. Ethan stood up. What are you saying? Judge Brennan's voice turned surgical. I'm saying Maya Reeves and Ethan Reeves share genetic markers consistent with a biological family connection. The courtroom exploded. Maya couldn't breathe. What? Judge Brennan hit the gavel. Order! Then her eyes locked on Eleanor. Mrs. Reeves, I'm going to ask you one direct question, and you will answer truthfully. If you lie, I will hold you in contempt and refer you for criminal prosecution. Eleanor's hands shook. 27 years ago, Judge Brennan said, did you give a baby up for adoption? Silence. Eleanor's face crumpled. Answer the question. Eleanor whispered. Yes. The courtroom erupted again. Maya's vision blurred. Ethan stared at his mother like he'd never seen her before. You what? Ethan croaked. Eleanor was crying now. I was young, unmarried. My family forced me. Ethan's voice broke. You had a daughter? Eleanor nodded. Ethan's mouth trembled. Where is she? Eleanor looked at Maya, and in that moment, Maya understood. Her blood turned to ice. No, Maya whispered. No, no, no. David grabbed her arm. Maya! Maya's voice came out hollow. I'm his sister. Ethan's knees seemed to lock. Maya whispered again like a prayer that could reverse reality. "I married my brother." Judge Brennan's gavel hit again. Based on these results, the marriage between Maya and Ethan Reeves is void. They are half-siblings. The courtroom froze. Judge Brennan continued, controlled but grim. "I am ordering confirmatory kinship testing, immediate genetic counseling, and medical monitoring for this pregnancy." She looked directly at Eleanor. "And Mrs. Reeves, your actions and sworn testimony today may expose you to further legal review." Eleanor sobbed, and for the first time, Eleanor Reeves wasn't powerful. She was just a woman watching her own lie burn her life down. The courtroom emptied like a funeral. Slow, quiet, phones out, whispers. Maya stayed seated, staring at nothing, hands over her belly like she could protect the baby from the truth. Ethan stood across the aisle, not crying, not moving, just dead-eyed. Judge Brennan stayed on the bench. Then she spoke. "This emergency custody petition is stayed, effective immediately." Gregory tried to argue. Judge Brennan shut him down. "You attempted to weaponize the court against a pregnant woman with unsupported allegations. This court will not be used as a tool for personal cruelty." Then she hit the gavel. "Court is adjourned." Outside in the hallway it was worse, because courtroom pain is private. Hallway pain is public. People crowded. Phones recorded. A woman whispered, "That's the Reeves case. DNA. Incest. Oh my God." Maya felt the humiliation crawl over her skin like ants. David tried to block cameras. "She's pregnant. Back up." No one backed up. Ethan's sister Caroline exited, saw Maya, then Ethan, then searched for their mother. "Where is she?" Caroline demanded. No answer. Caroline's eyes snapped to Ethan. "You knew?" Ethan's voice cracked. "No." Caroline laughed once, sharp, bitter. "She didn't just ruin your marriage, she ruined the entire family." Then Eleanor came out, not walking, stumbling, pearls crooked, hair undone, tears breaking through makeup. She saw Maya. "Maya?" Maya stepped back. Eleanor sobbed. "I didn't know it was you." Maya's voice shook, low and lethal. "You didn't know you gave away a baby?" Eleanor flinched. "I was trying to protect Ethan." Maya's eyes hardened. "You weren't protecting anyone. You were punishing me." Eleanor looked toward Ethan. "Ethan, please." Ethan didn't move. He didn't speak. He stared at her like she was a stranger. And that silence humiliated Eleanor more than any judge ever could. Security guided her away. Phones captured everything. Maya watched, realizing this humiliation wasn't ending today. It was going to live forever. 2 days later, a genetic counselor slid a folder across a sterile clinic table. "The confirmatory kinship testing is complete." Maya's hands trembled. Ethan's jaw tightened. The counselor spoke gently. "The results confirm you share one biological parent. You are half-siblings." Ethan closed his eyes. Maya stared at the paper like it was a death certificate. The counselor continued. "We need to discuss pregnancy risks. This does not guarantee complications, but it requires monitoring." Maya's voice cracked. "Is my baby going to die?" "No," the counselor said quickly. "Not necessarily. We will monitor growth and development closely." Ethan whispered, broken. "My mom knew I had a sister, and she never told me." Maya swallowed. "That wasn't silence," Maya whispered. "That was a choice." That night, Ethan came to Maya's apartment. One knock, soft. Maya opened the door but didn't invite him in. Ethan looked destroyed. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Maya didn't answer. "I didn't know," Ethan said. "I swear." Maya's eyes filled. "I believe you," she whispered. Ethan flinched like that hurt. Maya continued, "But you still tried to take my baby." Ethan's voice broke. "I was scared. My mom—" "Don't," Maya cut in. "Don't hide behind her. You let her use you." Ethan nodded slowly. "I did." Maya stared at him. "We're not married," she said, "but this baby is still mine, and still yours." Ethan's eyes filled. "What do you want from me?" Maya swallowed hard. "Stop being your mother's son," she said, "and start being a father." Ethan nodded. "I will." Maya's voice turned quiet, firm. "Then prove it." 2 months later, Maya went into early labor. Everything happened fast. Hospitals, monitors, doctors whispering. Ethan arrived, pale, shaking, already there. Maya screamed through contractions with tears in her eyes, not just pain, but grief for the life that was stolen by a secret. Then, a cry. Small, thin, but real. A baby girl, alive. They placed her on Maya's chest. Maya sobbed immediately. Ethan stood at the foot of the bed, trembling. Maya looked at him, not as a wife, as the only other person who could carry this truth and still love the child. "What do we call her?" Ethan whispered. Maya stared at the baby's tiny face, and the word came out like a prayer. Hope. Because after everything, the child still existed, and so did Maya. Eleanor Reeves never met the baby. Maya didn't forbid it out of revenge. She did it out of survival. Eleanor released a statement through an attorney. Regret, apology, "I did what I thought was best." But the court didn't care what she thought. The adoption secrecy was investigated quietly. Sealed records, old signatures, missing documentation that always seems to vanish when money and reputation are involved. Ethan cut off contact with his mother. Not with screaming, not with drama, with silence. The kind of silence Eleanor had used as a weapon for decades. Now it was turned back on her. Maya entered therapy. Ethan entered therapy, separately. The marriage was annulled. Legally, it had never existed. Emotionally, it had existed too much. And hope? Hope grew. Small at first, but strong. And every milestone felt like defiance. Some lies don't just break hearts, they break bloodlines. Eleanor Reeves thought silence would protect her son. Instead, it detonated his life in a courtroom full of witnesses. And the truth? It didn't whisper. It arrived in a sealed envelope and destroyed everything. Because DNA doesn't care about pride. DNA doesn't care about reputation. DNA doesn't negotiate. If this story hit you, subscribe to One Verdict Away, because we tell stories where the truth refuses to stay buried, and one verdict changes everything. And drop a comment. Should Eleanor have told the truth when Ethan met Maya, or do you think she convinced herself she was protecting him? We'll see you in the next verdict.